All right, then we are live on what happens to be a big breaking story that we're telling you on Sports Today. That is that the BCCI has already got into action as far as trying to find out who the next Test captain is going to be. And they're going to have a conversation with KL Rahul and Rohit Sharma. Now, why they're going to have that conversation, what they're going to do, I'll try and explain. Meanwhile, let me quickly take some comments. Hi, Devansh. Hi to you as well. Thanks for joining in for this latest update. Sharvil, I know you have a question. I'll try and answer that question as well. And Shubham, you have a question too. I'll try and answer all your questions as I keep giving you the latest news as well. That is that we are getting from the corridors of the BCCI. Firstly, hi Krishna, hi to you as well. Okay, firstly, just for everyone who's joining in, SK95, hi. Soham, hello to you. Sam, hi. You are all part of our extended family on Sports Today. Again, as always, in the evening, we will come with a dugout live and we'll try and do all the discussion and everything that's happening around Indian cricket. But for the moment, the story is that the BCCI is now thinking who should be the next Test captain, and that's the most important thing. I think the chapter of Virat having left captaincy is behind him as well as Indian cricket, and I think they're now going to look forward as to who the captain is going to be. So what we're getting to here is the conversation is going to happen with Rohit Sharma and KL Rahul. Now, why do you think that conversation needs to happen? Now, firstly, just remember the next series that India plays, the next Test series that India plays, will happen in February, end of February. You're playing your first Test match out of those two Test matches. You're playing the first Test match versus Sri Lanka in Bangalore, and then you play the next Test match in Mohali. Okay, so the Bangalore Test is the first Test match, which is going to start, I think, 25th, 26th February, something like that, end of February. So 1 month is still left. So there is enough time for the BCCI to find a Test captain before that. Now, who will find that captain? Of course, it's the job of the selectors, but the BCCI also, that is the BCCI secretary, BCCI president, will have a few word with the different candidates, as well as the chairman of selectors will have chairman of the selector will also have word with them. Now, why KL Rahul and Rohit Sharma? I think what we're getting to here is that the first choice is going to be Rohit Sharma. Okay, he is your natural captain. He is a proven pedigree in whichever format that is captain, and he brings in that with him. So, and he's a leader also, and he's someone that the entire team, because he's a senior, people will respect him as well. So he becomes your natural choice to be the captain. Now, why will the BCCI have a conversation? BCCI will have a conversation because you'll have to ask Rohit if he's ready to take on that responsibility. Now we know Virat Kohli himself had given up on T20 captaincy because he thought there were too many formats that he was going to captain. Now, remember, in case of Rohit, it's going to be a similar scenario. He's going to be captaining Mumbai Indians in the IPL. He'll be the white ball captain in T20 cricket and ODI cricket. And then for him to be a Test captain, firstly, is he ready to shoulder that burden? That's the conversation BCCI will have with Rohit Sharma. Also, status of his injury. Will he be fit and available for the series ahead? After that conversation is had, and once they get a affirmative sort of an answer from Rohit, and he's certain that he wants to take that responsibility, that he will attempt at being fit and being available for all formats. Once that is done, I think then it becomes simple that Rohit Sharma takes on the captaincy. But why KL Rahul in this discussion? Why is it that they're going to have a discussion with KL Rahul? Because in case Rohit is not ready to take that responsibility, maybe KL is then given the captaincy with an understanding that, of course, he will have Rohit by his side to guide him through. Of course, he'll also have Virat Kohli. Let's not forget, he's also going to be part of the team who can guide someone like a KL Rahul through. So this is the first news that we are giving you, that the BCCI is going to have a conversation with Rohit Sharma and KL Rahul. And according to us, Rohit Sharma is on top as far as who's going to be their first choice of captain. Only if Rohit says he cannot take that responsibility, that added responsibility, I think they will look at someone like a KL Rahul. Now, I'll try and break this news down, also try and take a lot of your questions. We a lot of questions. Sorry, I missed one of those super chats. I'm sorry about that. It just came and vanished. It had something to do with Shardul Thakur, if I'm not mistaken. So, just coming back to the news now, what happens in terms of captaincy? See, we saw a bit of KL Rahul captaining in that one-off test match, and we've discussed it on Sports Today before as well, that there were few areas where we thought he could have improved. There's nothing against KL Rahul, but because he's a bit raw, because he's a bit undercooked, because he's a bit fresh in the test arena, maybe he needs time to really catch on to the nuances of the sport and find out various different factors, which I think it'll come with time. It happened with Virat Kohli as well. He didn't come as a ready-made captain. It took him time. He learned the ropes and then became better as it went along. So maybe we have to be fair to KL also, that he will do it, and if given the responsibility. Secondly, you have to ask Rohit also, and that's the conversation that BCCI will have. Is he ready to take that responsibility now? Third, and I think the most important factor when you think of a KL Rahul and you want to give him captaincy or not, the most important factor is going to be that, see, he's just started finding his feet in test cricket in terms of form. He started doing well in that arena, right? Even now, many may say that he could be a slightly more consistent. Do you want to burden him with this captaincy? Now, it can go either ways. Some people take it like fish takes to water and become better. Some people may find that an extra burden, and his batting might start suffering. Now, if you think that you want a good stable opening partnership, Rohit Sharma and KL Rahul are those two guys, then should you burden him with captaincy? According to me, not so much. So that is a thing that BCCI will have to consider. And once you have a conversation with the player himself, then you get a better idea what is it that you want to do or not. So I think that's why they're having this conversation. The other options, let's take a look at some other options that are being floated around, and what are the advantages and disadvantages of those options. One that many people are talking about is Rishabh Pant. In fact, Sunil Gavaskar said on our platform on Sports Today that Rishabh Pant is someone he'll look at, and I think that's a very interesting proposition for two reasons. One, because he is going to be a certainty. You're going to play a wicket keeper, and at the moment he seems like a certainty in the playing 11. So that's it. Secondly, we've seen it that he does have a cricketing brain. He's a sharp cricketing brain. We've seen it in the IPL for the Delhi team. He tends to be a thinking captain, and I know, having spoken to folks in the Delhi franchise, that he likes to take that responsibility. He's his own man. He doesn't get bogged down by different suggestions. Whatever he believes is the right way to go, he will go that way, and he's his own man in that sense, and takes risks, take that responsibility. If it works out, great. If it doesn't, he's ready to take the brunt. So those are a few leadership qualities that we see. And I've heard that about Rishabh Pant. So I think that is a good option. Should you give him the captaincy now? Maybe. Why not? I think if Rohit Sharma says that no, he doesn't want to take the responsibility, he'd also be my number one choice. If he's not, then I wouldn't mind giving it to someone like a Rishabh Pant. Like KL Rahul will learn on the job, as we were talking about. Maybe Rishabh Pant can do that too. So I think he's another good option that you can look at. Jasprit Bumrah was made the vice captain when KL was reading. Should he be captain? The only problem on that front is I think he'll make a great captain. The only problem on that front is because of fast bowlers and the rotation policy that you have with fast bowlers. Do you want to risk a fast bowler? Because even if Jasprit is fit, you want to rest him for a few not very important games, and at that time, what do? Do you then get someone else to captain? So I think that is one reason that may go against someone like a Jasprit Bumrah. Then Ajinkya Rahane was a great option. I think he's a fantastic leader. He's shown it when he captained India in the Dharamshala test match, or then in the Australia series. Whenever he's been given that opportunity, I think he's a great captain. Only problem is his batting form is suffering. He doesn't find a place in the playing 11. So again, that's another option that goes out. One more name that is being floated around is that of Ravichandran Ashwin. I agree he's a thinking cricketer and all of that, but does he play all your overseas test matches? Not quite. I think if you are picking one spinner in overseas test matches, that first position, we've seen it now, I think truly belongs to someone like a Ravindra Jadeja. So he's ahead on that race as well. So do you then look at an Ravichandran Ashwin? Not quite. So out of all the options that are left with you, I think the most feasible options and the number one favorite will be Rohit Sharma. I think behind that would be either KL Rahul, Rishabh Pant. You could go either way. So these seem to be the only options. What we are reporting right now, breaking on Sports Today, is that the BCCI is going to have a conversation with Rohit Sharma and KL Rahul. That in itself tells you the thinking of BCCI, which side they are going. And I think Rohit is the favorite in that. If he himself feels that no, he can't take that workload, I think they will turn their attention to Rahul. The other big story that is being reported, we are not reporting, but I read it on Hindustan Times, where they're saying that after Virat Kohli decided to step down as captain, there was uh, top folks in the BCCI who offered him that, okay, why don't you uh, captain the Bangalore Test match? That is going to be your 100th Test match. Also, you can captain that. That is also the franchise that you play in the IPL for. So it's like your home ground. Apart from Delhi, which is his actual home ground, kind of a home ground Bangalore as well. So why don't you look at doing that? And Virat has apparently told the BCCI, no, I'm not like that. I don't want this farewell or my 100th Test match to be captain. No, I'm not that kind of a person. I've decided. That means I've decided. And I think there is truth to that. If that conversation did happen, if he was indeed offered to captain one final time, like a farewell captaincy game in Bangalore, and he turned it down, I think uh, there is merit in the argument, because we now know, and we can kind of confirm, having spoken to a lot of people in and around Indian cricket and in and around Virat Kohli, that Virat had already decided to step down from captaincy after this South Africa Test series. Whether India would have won the Test series or whether India lost the Test series, but he had, now we can confirm this. We've spoken to a lot of people around, as I said, in the BCCI, around Virat Kohli, that he had decided to step down after this Test match. If India would have won, then he would have, stepped down on a high. But that India has lost as well, he's decided to step down. And clearly, this has, I mean, you just have to put two and two together. Clearly, a lot of it has a lot to do with whatever happened before that. I don't think it went down very well with Virat Kohli. The entire confusion or the controversy that happened between Saurav Ganguly and Virat Kohli, and then later BCCI, where Virat said one thing, what was said by Saurav was a different thing, and it all came down to he's lying, he's lying. So I think that just didn't go down well with Virat, and maybe somewhere he thought that no, if this is how it's going to be, I don't want to continue as captain. Let me step down. Also, remember, till there was the COA there, he got complete backing from them. Whichever captain, whichever coach he wanted, he got. Whatever changes he wanted to the team, he got. But now things were beginning to change, and questions that he were asking wasn't like a given that whatever Virat wants will be given. Of course, he was given a lot of things, but there were a checks and balances in place where even the BCCI was chipping in with their own suggestions. I think all of this put together, I think he saw the writing on the wall and decided that it's best that I stepped down. So that is a decision he's not going to go back to, and so that is where you stand. But the other thing we're getting to know, as I just said, that he was asked that just do one more match as your farewell match in Bangalore, which he has refused and said that no, I'll quit as captain. So now the hunt is on, well and truly on, as to who's going to be the captain. As we're reporting, KL Rahul, Rohit Sharma are the two guys they're going to speaking to, and in that queue, Rohit Sharma is ahead. Vansh is asking how I'm feeling. I'm feeling very, very fine, sir. For those of you who didn't know, I had tested positive for corona, and that's why I'm quarantining at home. But I have no symptoms, and I'm absolutely fine. But you have to maintain the COVID protocol, so which is why I'm at home. I'm absolutely fine. Thanks for your concern and asking. A lot of people saying Rohit Sharma is going to be their choice. Anurag Kumar, a friend from Kathmandu. Anurag, lovely to see you join here. As always, you're always there, and lovely to see every member of our family join for this update. Ashutosh Garg, another one of our regular watchers, he says, has Virat Kohli taken the moral high ground by letting go of easily achievable targets to become world's best test captain? BCCI is just playing a catch-up game. Ashutosh, you're right. I mean, I think that Virat would have 100% had that in mind. I know that, see, it's not that record, he chases record, but, it inspires him, it pushes him to do well, and that's fair. I and you also would be like that, certain things or certain benchmarks, you want to better that. And I think Virat is that competitive, and I think because he's competitive by nature, it also helps him do well on the cricket field. So if he had that in mind, I'm sure he would have wanted to do that. Who wouldn't want to do it, especially when he was well and truly on his way to becoming the most successful captain in the history of the sport. He's already the most successful Indian captain. I'm sure he had all of this in mind. But was it worth it, all this controversy and him probably not getting 100% support from BCCI in all decisions that he wanted? I think those things also went into him deciding to step down. And I think he decided that I think my batting career or Virat, what I can achieve as a batsman is far more important than all these records that people may talk about as a captain. And I think for his own sake, for his own sanity, to just be able to concentrate on the sport, and not be involved in all the to and fro's or controversy outside, which will take a toll on you no matter how much you say I don't allow outside noise. I think for his own sanity, he's taken that decision, and so that he can continue performing as a batsman. We know that he's driven to perform as a batsman. We know he wants to excel in all formats he plays, and especially in Test cricket. And there are lots of things that he would want to achieve. 100 hundreds would definitely be one. That's not to say that there is a point to prove, but of course, if there's a benchmark, as I mentioned, we want to achieve that. So I think he's sacrificed his captaincy ambitions for his ambitions as a player, and I think that's a fair call. uh, Ronak Thakur, is there any chance of Rishabh Pant becoming vice captain in all three formats? KL is vice captain in that. Yeah, I think so. But I think sometimes vice captaincy is overrated. It doesn't really matter. I think, sometimes captains are made who are not vice captain. Mahendra Singh Dhoni was made captain. He was not vice captain in white ball. Suddenly he was made a captain. So, and there are a lot of people who were made vice captains but never became captain. Yuvraj Singh is another name that, comes to my mind. He was vice captain for a long time, but was never made a captain. So I think this vice captaincy, I think, is a bit overrated. It's just a designation. Does it help you become a captain? I don't think so. You could never be a vice captain and directly come and become a captain. So I think Rishabh as a captaincy option, I think is great too. But again, as I said, Rohit, as Prathmesh also is saying, is best as the first choice. There was a question. Vaibhav Tarangi has Nikhil. I think just because of Pant's century in the last inning, people are floating his name. I think need of the R is Rohit Sharma. Vaibhav, I agree. I said that Rohit is your number one option. Why not? If you have a guy who's a great captain, who's a senior in the team, who can be a leader of the pack, and now arguably is the best Test batsman. If I was just to look at in terms of form for India, it is him. So it's a no-brainer. Then he should be. But can he take all that responsibility? What is his fitness status? I think that's why what the story that we're breaking is the BCCI is going to have a talk with him. I think the talk is not going to be saying that, oh, you become captain, but also to get his feedback. Where is he at the moment? Does he want to take that responsibility? What is his fitness status? I think all of that will go into consideration. And after that, then next option, as I said, could be a Rishabh Pant or a KL Rahul, whichever way you go. Ashutosh has another question. Is it right to look at a red ball captain from the prism of white ball performance, especially like IPL? No, it's a very, very good question, Ashutosh. I think that's the mistake we made. That we look at someone in the white ball format and the kind of captaincy he does, and then make him a red ball captain. However, I mean, what I'm saying is that you can look at few things like leadership skills. Is he a thinker? Is he a risk taker? How does he take responsibility for his actions? Whether they come out well or it doesn't really work out. I think those things you can really see. Is he a leader of men? I think these things you can definitely see. Whether it's white ball, red ball, that stands out. But in terms of performances, no, different formats. I don't think we should confuse those formats like that. Ayush Bhattacharya said, why not Rahane as a captain? He's not scoring runs, but even Virat didn't for 2 years. He's actually batting well and needs some. Ayush, I think, in terms of captaincy, no debating that. I think Rahane is a fantastic captain, but I think he will now, the kind of reports we're getting from the BCCI when we're speaking to our sources, it's going to be very tough for Ajinkya to make the playing 11. And you cannot have someone just join the team on the basis of being captain. The age old rule in cricket is you make your team, you first write your 11s and then pick a captain. You don't pick a captain and then make your team. So I think that's a wise way of going about things. And at the moment, as good as Rahane is a captain, and I'm a huge fan of his captaincy, I think because he's not making the team, it's going to be very, very tough for him to be that captaincy option. Shivane. Shivani says Virat Kohli has always done things for Indian Test cricket. Respect to him for that, but leaving without succession plan has left India in turmoil. Agreed, Shivani. I completely agree. I think the priority that he's given to Test cricket, Virat Kohli has stood out. He's taken the Indian Test team, on the top of the charts. There's no denying that as well. He wears his heart on the sleeve, and the intensity. I love that. In a test match, it's not easy to maintain that intensity for 5 days non-stop, every session, even when the chips are down, when you're not getting the wickets. I think he's that true cheerleader. He has that intensity, and that you can see is rubbing off on his teammates as well. So yes, he's really prioritized test cricket. He gives it his all. Not that he doesn't give it in other formats, but you can clearly say that he doesn't just do lip service and saying, oh, it's the number one format, which you've seen a lot of players do it in the past. In his case, he truly really respects this and places it right on top in terms of this format. And he has taken this team in terms of attitude, in terms of fitness, in terms of giving their best in test cricket, in terms of priding themselves of going abroad and winning test matches there. I think no other team's done it as well as Virat Kohli's team. So yeah, all of those things are there. But yes, cricket is in turmoil. But can I tell you, I think turmoil is still a hard word. My opinion in all of this is just in the larger scheme of things, I think a captaincy change is not going to really change the fortune of Indian Test team. Let's be honest there. Uh, uh, I mean, a captain does, the captaincy factor does play a role in which way the Test match goes or Test series goes. But I think captain more importantly brings that culture, and I think because Virat has already got that culture, or that aggressive culture, or trying to win abroad, that is already there. So him just leaving suddenly, you think that the test performance is going to drop? No. I think what you should worry about more is Virat Kohli, the test batsman. He's given up test captaincy in the larger scheme of things, not so much. I mean, there is a school of thought, and I kind of agree with that, which says that a captain is as good as his team. So the team is doing well, whoever the captain may be. Sometimes we make a big deal of who the captain, whoever the captain may be. If the team is doing well, if all your batsmen are in form, if all your bowlers are in form, I think you will sail through. Doesn't matter if it's KL Rahul, Rohit Sharma, whoever. We sometimes make it a big deal. I think whoever becomes a captain, and that culture is an issue. Which a captain makes in terms of how the team, fights on the field or performs, or how aggressive they are, their attitude. I think that's already come about. As soon as Virat go, will that disappear? I don't think so. That thing is not going to disappear. That's already there. That's been inculcated into the team. So even if a captaincy is changed, it's not going to be a major turmoil. I don't think it's going to be a turmoil. Whoever comes in as the next captain, you'll see the same sort of attitude. All you need is for your middle order who hasn't been firing to get back into form, get that self sorted. Once that's sorted, I think as a fan, you and I wouldn't have to worry that much. So yeah, that's what I think of this larger. See, like Yari says, cricket does not stop, even if legend like Kohli, Tendulkar, Ponting step down or retire. So exactly, Yari. That's exactly Yari Jan, who's I don't know whether it's his real name or his digital name, but I completely agree with you. Cricket doesn't stop, and the performance is not going to dip because Virat has given up a Test captaincy, because he's already created that culture. These players are already tuned in to performing at their optimum and how to win, how to play aggressive cricket, how to give it back to the opposition. That's already there. Fitness, at culture has already come in. So now his drop doesn't mean from next test match all these things will just fall down. No, they don't come crashing down. He will continue to play like that. Captain will make a marginal difference in terms of tactical calls, but world carries on. And remember, Virat's not left Indian cricket. He's still there. He still could be the most important batsman that you have. So yeah, Devkant Sharma. He says, Nikhil, hi. You may not agree, but I strongly feel that excess of money in Indian cricket and IPL is playing spoil sport. It's making things volatile. Devkant, it's not a question of agree or not. See, money again. Why do we have problem with money if someone makes money? Yeah, you and I aspire to make more money in our lives in whatever we do, whether we do a job, we do businesses, whatever we do, we all aspire to make money. So why grudge money to the players as well? What's wrong in that? And if cricket has become professional and they're making money, that money is percolating down to everyone. If IPL is bringing in money today, just speak to domestic cricketers or even age group cricketers. The kind of facilities they are getting is because of the money coming in. There's no harm in that. Uh, in world cricket, I may agree that some places you are seeing players, picking and choosing. In India, there have been certain cases where players are picking and choosing. But let's say in terms of Virat, where have you ever seen him, prioritize IPL or money game in compared to Indian cricket? That's never happened. I don't see, all your top players doing it. There could be an exception here and there, but that's where BCCI needs to step in and monitor those players that get injured when India is playing but are completely fit when IPL is happening. then you look at that, monitor it, and then raise questions about those players. But let's not forget, players will also remember that your brand value, you don't only make money by getting the IPL fees, you also make money by becoming a big brand, and your brand value will only increase if you're playing international cricket, because the performances in international cricket people remember for years. IPL performances you forget, but international performances you don't. So when an ad guy or a company wants to sign you as brand ambassador, it's never going to be only on IPL performances, and I'm sure players realize that. That's why you see them giving their best no matter what. And then the pride for playing for country, that can never be replaced. Ask any player. So I don't think it's too much of an issue. Minor issues here and there, yes, but I think those issues can be sorted. Anurag Mishra says, will Virat again become captain of RCB? No, sir. That ship has sailed already. They're already looking at other captains, and Virat, I don't think, is going to take that. So Devendra has an opinion on captaincy. He says, we have 8 matches in the subcontinental conditions and have more chances of winning. So I think make KL or Pant captain so that we can test them. I agree with you, Devendra. You can do that. That's a good option. You can look at a KL, and there's enough. You're playing at home, not really tough opposition, barring that one test match that you'll have to play in England. You can look at that, or even continue with Rohit for a couple of years, and whoever is your next guy, let him learn, on the job, and then he comes in. So that's why I said it's not a crisis. It's not something that, yeah, oh, the captaincy has gone, so Indian cricket is in turmoil. I don't think so. The team is the same, the attitude is going to be the same, that aggression is going to be the same, so not too many things will change. Exactly. So this is another point that Vipendra is saying, and Vipendra, I completely agree with you, because that's exactly what I've been saying. He's saying, why so much noise while Virat leaving captaincy? He's not retiring, so relax. Agreed with you. On the contrary, don't forget Virat was a good captain, and you know tactically sometimes he wasn't strong, as Vipendra is pointing out, and so he's right in the sense, yeah, he's not retiring. For all you know, he may emerge from that slump and come out even better than before as a batsman. I think that is going to be far more crucial for Indian cricket than him leaving captaincy. Ganesh Khedkar, thank you so much for your generosity. Um, oh, Gaurav Sharma, why not Hanuma Vihari? Sir, I don't think he's there in the players you're speaking about, because he didn't get a chance to play in the 11. I'm not saying that's right. He should be playing more often, but I don't think he's a captaincy option. I know he captains his domestic team, but I do not think that Gaurav, that is going to be an option. But for starters, at least start playing him regularly, and I think that will now happen, because the word is out that BCCI is really looking to make some major changes. So I think that might happen. Rahul 95 says, hello Nikhil. I think Rohit Sharma is a natural choice. Absolutely agree with you. That's what we've been discussing. And he was announced as a vice captain. I completely agree. But that's why we're reporting here that BCCI is going to have a word with Rohit. If he's good, then becomes your captain. Only if Rohit himself says that no, be too much workload, or there is still issues with my fitness, I may not be available for the next test series, then they look at somewhere else. Otherwise, you already have a good captain in Rohit Sharma. So why not that? Devansh Bansal says, will Virat be dropped now if he fails? Anybody can be dropped if you fail. And I think nobody is bigger than the game. Having said that, I think, Virat is still getting a lot of runs. We are only looking at that 100. He had the highest average for any Indian batsman in this tour that just finished. So I think he's still showing signs of good form. And I think that average, which had dropped to below 30, he will push that up. But once he brings that average up, I think things will be fine. But yeah, everyone will always be under scrutiny. Why not Virat? The thing is that because he's not captain, maybe that rope might reduce slightly. That long rope that he may have got as captain might reduce shortly. But otherwise, that performance is a criteria for anybody's selection. But because of the batsman that Virat is, and I take him in the same bracket as the Sachin Tendulkars, the Rahul Dravids of the world, what would you like to have been done with a Sachin Tendulkar, Rahul Dravid? Persist with them for longer because of their contribution, and I think similar yardsticks should be there for Virat Kohli as well. So yeah, but that rope cannot be like for posterity. It will end sometime. But I think Virat is too good a batsman not to come back into form, and that's just my personal opinion. Um, See, like K-pop mashup says, nothing wrong with Virat batting. Hmm. Uh, Too many questions, so I'm missing a lot of it. Rohit is needed, Akhil says, not just as a smart leader, but also to unite the dressing room. I think that's an interesting take, Akhil. I don't entirely disagree with you. I think uh, that's an interesting take. You would need someone to really bring the team together, and that Rohit could be that guy. I think he gels very well with everyone that spoken to. He has that leadership quality. So what else? Rahim Khan Ali ji, I don't know the answer to your question. He's asking which team Harbhajan is going to join as support staff. I do not know that answer to. I was hearing that Lucknow might be that team, but those are still rumors. I can't confirm that, but that a little birdie once told me that might be the case. But if that was to happen, you know where you'll get that news first, right here on Sports Today. We'll break that news. Uh, Ikramul Farooq says, I think we should make Pant the captain, like Graham Smith. You're right, because that's exactly, what Sunny Gavaskar was also saying. He gave an example of Tiger Patodi when Nari Contractor got hit and Tiger Patodi had to be, pushed in as captain as a very young player. He just took like fish takes to water. And so he gave that example. And Mr. Gavaskar sees in Pant those kind of qualities that he'll become a better player and more responsible player also if you make him captain. And Graham Smith is another example. Yeah, I've had a privilege of working with Graham Smith multiple times before, and he just also, at a young age, just was a leader of men, took to captaincy very, very easily. Rahul 95 says, what do you make of KL Rahul as captain? Looked ordinary for Punjab in IPL, made some bad calls. I agree with you on that front. Didn't impress me too much as a captain. Does impress us as a batsman. Would I want him as captain? Not immediately, but that's not to say that he could never be captain. I mean, everyone is a work in progress. He could go on to become a very good captain. For the moment, is he my first choice? No. I just mentioned Rohit is going to be your first choice for that. And if I was to pick a dark horse, I'd also go with Rishabh Pant. Rahul says, "I hope you're recovering well." Yes, Rahul, I am. Thanks so much for your concern. Uh, and he's saying that this will be a transition period. We'll lose some matches. Sri Lanka could be a difficult series, maybe, but I don't think you will see too much of a dip in form. By that's again, I'm going back to that point. Just the captaincy change doesn't mean that the Indian Test team will now fall down. No, no, no. I think they will keep operating at that level. Changing of captaincy is a minor thing. If you ask me personally, a captain is as good as his team, and there is a lot of truth in that. So don't think we need to be, as Indian fans, really need to worry about it. Ravan Pandit says, opinion on Ishant and Ashwin. I think you will have to take a call on Ishant. He's a senior guy, 100 test matches. Would you want him to just keep sitting on the bench, or just have a word with him saying that, listen, we're moving forward, then bring a youngster. But if you've got him, then give him that extended chance. But see, all of this will now depend on who the next captain is and what does he see, because captain also plays a major role. But I think, if you ask me, I think he's very near to the end of the road for Ishant. So that may be the case of Ishant. Ashwin, I think leaves a lot to be desired in overseas conditions. And so if you're playing one spinner overseas, I think Ravindra Jadeja is going to be that guy. And of course, he'll continue to play a major role in home conditions where you will play two spinners, and that where Ashwin, of course, comes in. But his batting has also started contributing, so that helps you, have him in the team when you're really looking for balance, especially when you're playing five bowlers. So I think that really helps him being in the team. Rohit Sharma will definitely be back. Yeah, he will definitely be back. But it's over for Pujara, I think. Sumit Patel is saying. Shreyas Iyer could be a future captain. Gaurav says yes, but for that first Shreyas Iyer has to start. We jump the gun sometimes. For that, Shreyas Iyer has to keep playing Test cricket continuously now in overseas conditions, home conditions. After he starts performing, then maybe you can look at that. At the moment, there's not too much to see how he could be a good captain. He did captain Delhi. Did he impress me the most? Not quite. So we'll have to wait on that front. He could turn out to be a good captain, but I think we're jumping the gun by seeing someone captain a season in the IPL. You think he's going to be the next captain? No. I think we're jumping the gun. On that note, I think we're going to wind up. I gave you the latest news. For those of you who joined us late, go back at the start of the video. I've given you the latest news as to who is going to be the next captain, or who the BCCI thinks is going to be the next captain. Rahul, I've answered your question on Shreyas Iyer just a short while ago. So, yeah, that's that. We'll see you tonight then on Dugout. And joining me will be my two colleagues in Vikrant Gupta and Rahul Rawat. We'll see you then. Till then, take care and have a good Monday.